Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice and medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock. Doc, why am I still doing this? Why do I feel the need to introduce the show? You just clicked play. You know what you're about to listen to. You know the name of the show. So let's just get started.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock Doc podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of medicine and science into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, Dr. LennonSmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as consumptive coagulopathy and labor day. So I will try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future.
Yes.
Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Whoa. Where am I? Who are you? What?
Okay.
Professor Cameron, is that what you called me? Is that who?
No.
Am I a professor? Is that who I am?
Oh, no.
What's going on?
So, no, this happens. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So you're producer, Cameron.
Okay.
You're producing this podcast right now. Okay.
Okay. We need to back up a few steps. What's a podcast? Who are you? What is going on? All I remember is being 7 years old and swinging on a swing set and then taking a jump off and then accidentally bumping my noggin while landing. And now I've woken up here.
And you're sure that it was an accident, the bumping your noggin? You said you accidentally bumped it.
You think someone did it on purpose? That I feel like is the least important aspect of this entire thing right now, is whether or not it was intentional.
Just you say you accidentally bumped your noggin as if there was a question as to whether it was an accident. So I just want to make sure that you're sure about that part.
Yeah, I clearly have amnesia. I don't know. These are way too detailed of questions to be asking someone who clearly has amnesia. Who are you?
Well, so you already diagnosed yourself. Why? So I'm wearing this lab coat.
Okay.
It says I'm a doctor.
Okay.
So I'm a doctor.
Okay.
I'm Dr. LennonSmith.com.
Oh.
Did it all come back to you just now?
No.
Okay. So, well, honestly, this might be a step up, because usually I feel like the years of learning that you've done since you were 7 has really hurt the podcast a lot. So maybe now
you think the things that I or the person who was formerly me brought to the table was mostly detrimental.
Yeah.
Usually physically detrimental, not just like, oh, this affects the listenership, but, oh, this is damaging the property, this is damaging my house, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like damaging our guests, the amount of...
And again, not like an emotional damage or any sort of like philosophical
way. No, it's
very... we're talking missing limbs, missing chunks of human flesh, sure.
Marketing.
See, this is the thing. I don't remember any of this because of the
children.
amnesia, but all of this sounds good. Like, this is my instinct, is like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And so I have to assume that would be the direction I went in the past.
Yeah. So I'm just, so now I'm going to just let you know that those things are not kind to do. So.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm guessing when you were 7 years old, no one told you that. So now you know that those are unkind things, those instincts you have. So let's focus on the kind things going forward. And honestly, I don't know that we need to cure this amnesia if it helps us. Do you know what I mean? Okay.
And this is helping?
So far, this is going so much better than it ever goes. This is really good.
What is this? What is this thing on my body? This it's like a cloth that's over me.
Yeah, okay.
Dr.
So that's
London.
A shirt. So at 7 years old, you didn't know what a shirt was? You didn't know what a shirt was when you were 7?
Maybe not in those exact words. I don't know if I had ever like heard.
It's one word.
Well, yeah, but like in that context.
Of what you were wearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know of a shirt as a thing that is hanging on a hanger at a department store.
So you've never worn a shirt? Okay. Okay, so we'll have to just work with it. Like I said, though, I really think we're winning here. I think this is the most potential the podcast has ever had, because you've lost all the things that normally do direct harm to myself and others. So let's go forward. So that's our producer, Cameron.
Let's just roll with it. Yeah, this is fine with me. What is this?
Okay, so that's a microphone.
The big, like the black ice cream.
Yeah, don't eat it. Don't eat it. No, okay, don't eat it. Okay, that's a very big mouthful.
Is that supposed to taste? Is that what tasting good tastes like? Because it didn't taste good. But if that's what tasting good tastes like, I guess maybe it does taste good. You know?
Yeah, I haven't tasted microphone, so I can't actually tell you. I'm not informed about that.
So I've actually learned more than you, even though I have the brain of a 7-year-old child, basically.
Yeah, you say that you have a brain of a 7-year-old child, and you say it in a very dismissive way, but that's all you have, right? That's all of you.
Yeah, I mean, you might be wondering, like, would someone who is 7 describe themselves as having the brain of a 7-year-old child? And the answer is, yeah, they would.
Because here they are, right in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our producer, Cameron. And also with us is Digital in the house. Digital in the house.
This is the human experience. You think I'm joking? I'm serious. You have to get in your car. You have to go to your job. You have to turn on the air while you eternally sob. Gotta get your face dry, never let them see you cry. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. Gotta walk a straight line. This is the human experience. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line. This is the human experience. Gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk a straight line, gotta walk line. Gotta walk a straight line, 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 gotta walk a straight line.
And later, Cameron had told me before this incident, he had told me that we have a guest coming up.
A guest? Like someone's coming for dinner?
It's like
Mr.
that.
London, sir?
Except that they're a guest on this podcast. I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question. So a podcast, it's like the radio, except it's in specific increments that are downloaded onto, say, a desktop or a smartphone. Okay, you know what? I'll move on.
Download. You mean like on Napster? I'm 7. Remember, this is like 1997 to me. So like Napster. So, is that what you mean?
You know what? I'm realizing the medical lesson is going to be really tough today. But anyway. Let's move on to the next thing. So
this was your choice to not cure me. You could have totally found a cure by now. You even sort of implied it. You were like, "Oh, we don't have to worry about solving this because this is better." And now you're mad because I brought up Napster?
That syringe there in front of you that says amnesia cure, don't touch that, okay? That's not for you. I have that. That's for a different thing.
Done.
I just want to make sure you don't, hands off, please. Okay. Before we move on, a bit of listener feedback. So this note comes from a cellular phone. The note reads, quote, I saw that you finally got tested for your horoscope, and it's cancer. Is it treatable or terminal? Thoughts and prayers. End quote. So, first of all, thank you so much to this listener for reaching out. We love to hear back from our listeners. So, you got tested. Cameron, I guess this is towards you. Maybe? You got your horoscope and it's cancer?
Yeah, I mean... that definitely sounds like something I would have done.
Yeah.
I was big into astrology, or I am big into astrology right now as a as a man with the brain of a 7-year-old child.
Which is how you're going to keep yeah.
Yeah, it's who I am.
Okay. So
I mean, what do you want to?
So I'll say,
is there a follow up? What do you want to know?
Well, no. The follow up was: is it treatable or terminal? Is it going to kill you, or should I answer this? Should I field it?
Yeah, I guess here. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to look at my body and see like what's up? Is that what you're asking?
Maybe I was wrong. Do you want to? You can.
Like, how do you want me to answer? Is, hey, is this terminal or not? You're the lab coat guy. That's what you said.
Yeah, I did say I'm the lab coat guy.
I think Napster is still around, okay? I'm an idiot. I'm 7 in my brain.
Okay, you know what? Maybe that syringe will be useful. Don't touch it yet.
No, not going to. I'm committing to what I agreed to at the beginning and not going to go against it.
Anyway, so to that listener, thank you for listening. And if you want to ask us any questions, this listener feedback is wide open. You can tweet at us. We're at Jock Talk Podcast, or on Instagram, any of that stuff, social media.
What's a question?
Okay, so Twitter didn't throw you. It's a question. That's really tough for you. Okay, so.
Huh?
That's an example of a question. Both of those were. They're a sentiment begging for an answer, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like a trivia clue.
No, it would be a trivia question. A clue would be,
I mean,
helping you get to the answer to that question.
Well, and this is difficult because in Jeopardy, the answer is sort of the question. Well, it's put
in the form of a question.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like you knew the answer to this if you're referencing Jeopardy.
We'll see. In Jeopardy, the clue is a statement,
I know.
But at the same time, it is still the clue.
I've seen the show. You're not catching me on this one. I'm well aware. It's just.
And then the way they answer is in a question, yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, to that listener, thank you for listening. Now for today's medical topic, hiatal hernia. A hiatal hernia is a protrusion of the upper part of the stomach into the chest. So this is typically caused by obesity weakening the diaphragm. And that diaphragm is normally the part that will help you with your lungs, with breathing in. It's the muscle just below the lungs that can contract to go down and inflate the lungs and then loosen up to help you exhale. So obesity can weaken that diaphragm. Clinically, patients can present with heartburn, chest pain, and difficulty swallowing, also known as dysphagia. That's difficulty swallowing is dysphagia. And for hiatal hernia, the best initial treatment is weight loss and proton pump inhibitors. These are commonly referred to as PPIs. And if symptoms persist, patients may need surgical correction, like a Nissen fundoplication.
And if it doesn't persist?
Then they can just use that treatment option without going to surgery. So we said...
So if it doesn't... in other words, like, your job is made irrelevant by just your body choosing to not persist in this one direction.
Well, so if they don't...
That makes me feel powerful, honestly. Like, you're weak. My body can beat you, Dr. London.
So, yeah, if you're cured just by weight loss and proton pump inhibitors, that's a win-win. We both win for that.
Oh, I bet you hate that. Oh man, you would hate that.
Yeah, we found a cure for your disease.
If I would have had a disease beforehand and now I don't have to go to you. Don't have to give you all that green. Oh my gosh, you'd be so mad if that happened.
I mean, I feel like I'd be pretty okay with it because we treated you for your disease and you got better. And, there are plenty of patients with health problems out there. So it's not like there's a struggle, especially the obesity epidemic. It's so huge. Hiatal hernias are unfortunately fairly present, ubiquitous in a sense.
Yeah, I'm sure you would love to keep it that way to keep your racket going. I get what you're saying. No, I'm not faulting you, Dr. London. You've got a good scam going on here.
Right.
People's bodies can just cure themselves, but you're convincing them that they need to see you and then put all this, harmful stuff in their body. I get it.
Yeah,
I think it's a great system you've got going. But you're not going to get me, buddy.
So I should say, a great way to avoid, if you want to call it a racket, the racket that we're running, right? Then avoid obesity. Do your exercise training, work out and stay fit so that you don't get these medical problems. That's it.
Hey, buddy, if you want to avoid a racket, get off the damn tennis court. Now, I don't know what that means or how that
relates.
Sort of, relates this conversation in any capacity.
I mean, in one capacity.
I've got the brain of a 7-year-old right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, if you're done, I know. I don't know if you have more to contribute or less with the 7-year-old in you.
More to you. So me talking is contributing something. Is that correct?
So much more than in the past. Yes, this is the most insightful you've ever been. So please don't touch that syringe. But we can move on from there.
No, I'm just gonna touch it to throw it away. I don't want it.
Yeah. No, sure. Okay. All right, Cameron, you said a while ago, before whatever happened, that we have a guest today. So
what's a
hello there?
Guest?
We covered this earlier. This is not...
Oh, did we? Well, I have amnesia from that time, too.
I'm starting to think that you might not have amnesia at all.
Why? What would be my motive for faking this? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what the motive would be to do something like that. So we better move on. I'm 7 years old. I think Napster is still around. The Olsen twins are still young.
Yeah, people are still young. That's another great specific reference.
Yeah, and that's how I would describe it if I was coming from a 1997 brain. Is that these very famous children are still children.
Great, yeah. Well, so hello there. My name is drlondonsmith.com, and this is our producer Cameron, who's currently at least seems to think, or want us to think, that he has the mind of a 7-year-old at the moment.
Yes.
Hi, fellas. Hi, good to see you. Good to see you there. Cameron, was it, young man?
Yes. Hello, sir. Should I call you Mr. something?
Yes. So
I'm a kid.
My name is Dr. Martin Scounch. You can call me Dr. Scounch. You can call me Martin. Do not call me Doc Martin. I've heard it all.
Okay. That's a note for Cameron. For me...
That's a note for Cameron. I knew someone as experienced in the medical field as you, Dr. London, that you would not make that mistake. But I just happened to overhear that there's some sort of time dilation disease, amnesia going around that, I wanted to make sure Cameron was aware of. Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first instinct was to go for Doc Martin for sure. But as London pointed out earlier, my instincts seem to be extremely detrimental to the show, so I am trying to avoid them.
Oh!
So, but I do Scounch. What is Scounch? Where is that from? Where's your family from?
It's from the West. The Western, figure it out from there, I suppose. You've got enough information. I'm not giving you my identity.
No, I've actually driven west before. Not too far.
And you see signs on the highway that say Scounch, and that's my family name. That's my family's country out there, out in the West.
Okay.
United States.
Oh wow! So
United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, any Western area, you're gonna find a Scounch out there.
Oh, wow. So West Poland to West Thailand, there's going to be
West
a
Berlin.
Scounch around.
West Berlin, you're going to find a whole pack of Scounches. Western East Coast, you're going to find Scounches out there. It's just
wow. So even just the western part of Manhattan still counts. That's amazing.
Yeah, just like the left side of a north-south street.
Yeah.
If you're looking north,
you're going to find a Scounch.
the west.
You're gonna find the word Scounch. So your family must be like incredible, right? They must be very influential, very rich,
fertile,
very very.
They
fertile,
would be.
Yeah.
They would be had they, applied themselves in any sort of way. I'm not cut from very, charismatic stock, very successful cloth.
Oh, okay.
I am a doctor. I received my medical degree. That's the most any Scounch has ever, accomplished outside of, setting a memorable fire or, downing a considerable amount of alcohol in one sitting.
Well, let's go to that.
And that is how just real quick, that is how a doctor would describe themselves as, I am a doctor, I did get my medical degree. Because almost every time that someone says I'm a doctor, they don't ever even mention that they got a degree. How am I supposed to know if this is a Dr. Pepper situation or a Dr. Dre situation? You know what I mean? Like, mentioning the degree really, really helps me sort of understand the context a lot more. I appreciate that.
Mentioning specifically that it's medical also is something that's incredibly crucial when seeing a physician.
Oh.
If there's an incident on an airplane and someone says, "Is there a doctor around?" and someone said, "Yeah, I'm a doctor of philosophy," that patient's gonna die.
Well, if they know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the patient was struggling already with ego death, I would love to have a doctor of philosophy around. That'd be very helpful.
Yeah, maybe if someone was there to sort of explain the concept of nothingness and Jean-Paul Sartre sort of being without a body. Yeah, sure, but maybe a doctor of philosophy is the kind of person you want on that airplane. That is not the kind of doctor I am.
Cameron, I'm impressed.
So
hold on, Cameron, I'm impressed that you're keeping up here. Given
I'm just a
that
kid.
you're 7 years old, like you're the age where you're just starting to get into team sports, developmentally. I mean,
yeah, I'm on the red team. That's for all sports. Yeah,
7's a great age. That's a great time for a young man. A lot of discovery about one's own body at that age.
Oh, it's so great, and especially here in 1997, where I've got a Neopets account, but that's the only thing going on the internet. It's pretty sweet.
I'm sorry to. I wanted to just make sure we just remember, as we discuss these sort of knowledgeable philosophical talks, that Cameron, as a 7-year-old, is included, but it sounded like he was keeping up pretty well. Would like to also say, who's this ancestor of yours? I'm sure we'll get back to your medical thing, but this ancestor of yours who could drink a lot of alcohol, and they were famous for that.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's a famous story in the Scounch household, all the Western households, wherever you might find a Scounch. Yeah. All of them hear the story of the considerable amount of alcohol that was drunk. It was my great uncle, Maurice Scounch.
Okay.
It was right around it was 1775 in Boston, Massachusetts.
Wow.
So
wow.
The backdrop of the American Revolution the American Revolution is on the horizon, and here's my great uncle just absolutely upside down in a barrel of just the worst whiskey available at that time.
Worst in what sense? Flavor or
in sort of consistency,
okay.
Alcohol content, viscosity. Is a thick watery whiskey that was, considerably more alcoholic than the whiskey you and I might see today on the liquor store shelves of the 2021. And he thought the only way out of this barrel is to drink my way to the bottom. And a lot of people said, Maurice, you don't need to do that. You can back up. You can pull your head out of that barrel. There's a war going on. We need every able-bodied man to fight the British. And he said, not on my watch. And, he drank his way to the bottom of that barrel, and they buried him in it.
Wow.
Oh, wow. And these are the stories of our founding fathers that get lost in time. And people think, only George Washington was a hero. And it's like, okay, but what about Maurice Scounch? Why is that name lost to history, yet we just idolize these certain people?
And what a great thing, though, that you finally found a way to somehow top that. Or maybe not top that, but maybe just be the next great Scounch. You are a doctor. First, your ancestors drank so much alcohol, at least on one occasion. Mm-hmm. And now you are a doctor.
I am, yes.
That's actually...
I believe the other thing I mentioned was that one of my ancestors set a large fire. Unfortunately, that story has been lost to time. So really, it's Maurice with the barrel of whiskey and Martin, me, with being a doctor, yes.
And everyone in between is just trash, right? You go to the western part of any city, and just the negative aspect of that city is the Scounches. Is that about right?
Yeah, there's an expression that exists in some parts of the United States, which is heading over to the Scounch side of town, which just means going west.
Okay.
In that way, yeah, my name is sort of synonymous with failures and do nothings, not doers, don't doers, roustabout lazy folks. That's kind of what my name has come to represent.
And it's one of those turns of phrases that is incredibly, way longer than the point that you're trying to convey, which is go west.
Exactly.
I think
if you were giving someone directions and you said go to the Scounch side of town, and maybe if this is someone unfamiliar with the phrase, they would have to ask so many follow-up questions, to which you would launch into the story of Maurice.
Yeah, well, we all would.
Basically explain the context, yeah.
Yeah, easier to do now that I know the context, because I've used the phrase and been terrible at explaining it thus far, because I didn't have the context. I only knew the medical side, not the not the trash human side. But I feel like we got the tiniest bit distracted here with the founding fathers' origin. Would you mind telling us a little bit why you're here?
Yeah, exactly, Dr. London. Thanks for getting us back on track there. So I am a shark bite doctor specifically.
Okay.
Oh.
I have a specialization in and around the area relating to bites of the shark.
Okay.
I make my practice currently in Sydney, Australia.
Okay, yeah. I hear great things about Australia.
You would hear great things, because the bad things like the shark bites and the epidemic of shark bite victims that we have been experiencing doesn't make the local news. I guess they have more important things to talk about, like COVID-19 and everything else, but
I've heard of those.
There's an epidemic going on down here with shark bites.
Wow. I've heard about the sort of rat epidemic that's been going on for a few months in Australia. But I was not familiar with this shark epidemic. Is this so? Are
they related? Those two,
or well, that's also a good question.
I can't speak on the relation between the rats and the sharks. I am myself not a rat bite doctor,
okay.
Though I have many colleagues who specialize in that area. You
hang out with a lot of rat doctors.
I hang out with a lot of bite doctors. Any doctor who studies a specific type of bite, we're close. If they're in Australia, we'll get a drink. If they're located anywhere else in the world, we'll correspond by email or letter. The bite world it's a small world.
You're bite buddies.
We're bite buddies. Yes, thank you, Cameron.
So I know for me, it's a kind of a big deal to have you on the show, and I'm seeing. So if Cameron had the mind of a 7-year-old, and we finally have a medical doctor on the show, I'm seeing once again, Cameron, that this is all a big win for us. You being in this state.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, you keep bringing that up like that is making some sort of larger point. I'm not sure what that point would be.
Yeah, so
I love that my childhood wonder is helping the show.
So, in any case, going back to this bite doctor. So I know for any of the bite doctor fellowships, surgery is going to be at least 7-10 years, depending on how you specialize. Doing a fellowship in in animal bites, that was at least 10-15 years of fellowship. And I'm just wondering how what made you decide that to approach this very complicated side of medicine where people get bit?
Yeah, that's a long time to be in school.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I want to help people who've been bit by sharks. I think it's a traumatic experience, and I come at it not from a point of altruism, but from a perspective of revenge.
Oh.
Let me give a little context.
Oh.
So,
yeah, do you have history with this?
In 1991, I was legally dead for 17 minutes as the result of a shark bite.
That's 6 years ago for Cameron.
Yeah, that was so recent. I was 1.
So, exactly, and we'll circle back to that at some point. I do have some theories on a diagnosis for your condition there, Cameron, but I'll give a bit of my backstory first. So in 1991, 6 years ago to you, I was bitten by a shark while I was surfing a wave down there in Sydney, Australia, and it changed my life, mainly in the fact that it took out a large portion of my body through the biting process, and also it made me view sharks in a different way. A lot of people.
What part of your body was affected? Like where were you bit?
Mid.
Oh.
Mid to low.
Oh,
yeah, mid's
no.
one of the critical parts.
So I mean, how were you saved? I mean, are you still missing like a giant chunk of your middle part of your body?
I was saved. What I believe was the grace of God. There was a large wave that knocked me off my surfboard and directly into the mouth of not one but 3 great white sharks.
And that was
and in that.
Sorry, you said by the grace of God you were saved. It sounds like an act of God, sure, but in the other direction. Initially, at least. But
I believe God works in mysterious ways. I believe He sent a wave to knock me into those sharks, and then sent a bigger wave with more sharks to again knock me around a bit, get me get the water a little bit bloody, and eventually there's so much blood in the water, those sharks are getting distracted. They're going every which way. They're bumping each other in the nose. They're getting bored. They're getting full. And they're getting sleepy. So those sharks fell asleep right at that moment.
Full of your flesh.
I was able to.
The sharks are getting full.
Full of my flesh.
Okay.
I had just eaten a large amount of turkey.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God, I had just eaten a large amount of turkey. This was Thanksgiving, a holiday they don't celebrate in Australia, but I took it upon myself to, I am from America, West, and I decided to celebrate Thanksgiving independently. And
you want to bring your traditions with you, of course. I totally understand.
7 years old.
Yeah, it's my duty as an American.
But how are you now? Like, I guess I just can't really see your body. You're sort of sitting at a weird angle. Are you still like mangled up because of these shark bites? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't think it's a weird angle.
If I were to stand upright, you would see a large sort of jagged, we'll call it a C shape, a crescent.
Yeah,
in my mid to low.
I think that what's confusing Cameron here is that he's not sitting weird. That's him sitting perfectly normally, and that's just a giant C shape.
Oh, okay. And then it just sort of curves in because of the bite. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not doing a sort of pirouette ballet bend. That's just the part of my body that is split amongst dozens of sharks.
Yeah,
30 years ago.
By the grace of God.
By the grace of God.
So I mean, if I could just recap that just a little bit. So you were out surfing. You had just eaten a whole lot of turkey. And then a giant wave, by the grace of God, a giant wave knocked you off. And then just into apparently just shark, heavily infested waters. And they just kept eating at you. And thankfully, they ate so much of you that there was blood everywhere. So much that it confused them as they were chomping. And I
believe there was also a second wave with more sharks that added to the confusion.
By the grace of God,
right? It was sort of a. I hope this isn't crass because it sounds like a very traumatic situation for you. It was sort of a sharknado that was forming in all of the chaos. Is that maybe the scientific term?
This was a classic sort of sharknado situation.
Yeah.
A perfect reference for a 7-year-old to make. The Sharknado films are a great sort of demonstration if you were curious what this looked like.
Okay.
It's sort of like, you ever been to a restaurant that's really busy?
Yes.
And you don't know where the counter is to order?
Yes.
It was sort of like that, except the patrons were sharks, and I was the food and the restaurant.
Okay, well, Cameron, you follow the original thing. You don't follow the metaphor, but you follow him being eaten by a lot of sharks.
No. What I was saying no to, I understand a really busy restaurant. I don't think I've ever been in a restaurant that's so busy that I don't know where the counter is. I feel like almost every restaurant is built to just sort of like lead you directly to the counter.
It's not a perfect metaphor.
Goal.
Maybe it's not a perfect metaphor. Have you ever been to a subway station that's so busy that you don't know where the train is?
Have
you ever
really
been on a bus and you've been it's been so busy that you don't know how to get out, and you ride that bus all damn day long?
Oh, now that I have a ton of experience in, yes.
You do? Okay, so imagine that bus is a human body, and the people looking to get off the bus are sharks looking to eat a man. And then we're sort of closer to the sort of... It's not a perfect metaphor.
Well, what I'm thinking is the original version of the story didn't need a metaphor to explain it. Like, I think we got it, especially whenever I re-explained it. Like, unless I did a bad job of that.
No, we went over it pretty clearly twice, Dr. London. I think
a few metaphors.
Maybe an unnecessary metaphor. Yeah. That's another thing. I'm very into metaphors, but I'm not good at them.
No, you're so good. But maybe we'll move on still to the...
And so you're in this situation, right? You're in this just chaotic cloud of sharks and blood and falling asleep and turkey scraps and all that stuff. So do you recognize your moment and then swim away, or were you also, by the grace of God, flung out away from the sharks?
I believe it was
like, how did you escape this situation?
Yeah, I suppose we didn't even get to that part yet. The grace of God... grace of God counter. There's 2. First wave, grace of God. Knocked me into those sharks' mouths. Second wave, grace of God. Knocked more sharks around. Third wave.
Well, you also ate turkey by the grace of God. So
by the grace of God. So we're up to like 3 or 4 graces of God at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to keep count.
Let's make it a perfect 5. The 5th grace of God. A very, very big wave should come, pick me up, carry me into the clouds for a moment. I meet I meet God face to face. What I felt at that moment was God. I meet face to face. And he tells me, Martin, we're not done with you. And then that wave carries me back to shore and places me softly on the sand. For a moment, I thought that voice, we're not done with you, I thought that was the voice of the sharks saying, we're still hungry for you. But that's not the case? It really could have been. I've never thought about it, but it's very possible that at that moment, the shark said, I'm ready for seconds. I had my little nap. I had my turkey time, and I'm ready for more. So, thinking back on it 30 years later, that's actually extremely likely. So it's either God or a shark. One of them talked to you. It could go either way. Those are the words that are emblazoned above my practice, actually. It's either God or a shark. Wait, those words?
Wow. Is
the words
hardcore.
That either God or the shark said, or the words either God or a shark? Well, yeah, it's emblazoned above the door in a beautiful wood carving. It's either God or the shark, which, your two reasons for visiting my clinic, a shark bite or by the grace of God. Okay. Well, great.
I was just thinking this. You said that you were dead for 16, 17 minutes or something. I thought that it was during that time that you spoke to God, but you seem to just sort of give up on that immediately. And then we're like, oh yeah, it was almost certainly the shark saying it now.
Bearing in mind that, I believe I was alive to hear the shark. And then at that moment I was lifted to the sand, where I promptly died briefly for 17 minutes. Promptly briefly. I'm told. Mm-hmm. By the beach patrolman, and who resuscitated me. He explained, there's been an accident. There's been 3 and then dozens of sharks. There's a C missing from your mid to low. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna get you to the hospital right away. And that all happened on the beach. Hospital stay, outpatient, in and out by that evening. Oh
wow, is that quick?
One thing?
That's
sorry,
awesome.
Just for our listeners who, sometimes that complicated jargon of mid to low missing C. So just so our listeners aren't going to lose track. So that that's mid to low. That'd be sort of the abdomen, the chest, the thoracic area, and missing C. That's just a part of the body missing. Just to clarify, so that we don't lose anyone in the terminology here. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for catching everybody up there, Dr. London. Yeah, missing C, easy to understand. Take a big C, put it on a person, and then take that part that the C is covering, take that out of their body. That's gone now. And mid to low, that's a little more up to interpretation. What would be the top of my thigh? Okay. Top of my upper thigh. You may call it my butt is, Okay, so there's a C. I was actually incorrect in my assessment then. Mid to low, I guess maybe the C I was picturing was much bigger. But I'm looking at you now, and you are right. Clearly, just clinically in my mind, yes, I was going with the more vague description. Yeah, to protect my privacy. I appreciate that. In case I'd say one of your listeners saw a man with a missing C on the street, he wouldn't immediately assume it was me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because one thing that our podcast, I think, is really good about, and we pride ourselves on, is we don't violate HIPAA. We're very particular about patient privacy and making sure that everyone who's a guest who comes on with medical problems, they're protected. So, in your case, of course, it's the mid to low C. Don't want to be too specific. Yeah. Educate, but not too specific. Yeah, that's why I say mid to low. Yeah. Use your best judgment. Maybe Cameron could draw a little colored pencil drawing of what he thinks that looks like when he has free time at school next. It's just something that that's what's going on with me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your
wish
candor.
I had free time at school, but
sports.
Yeah. The stuff they got us doing these days, God.
Well,
it's fucking insane.
Cameron, do you want to tell us
what some of the stuff that's going on in school that's keeping me so busy? Oh, colors. Colors are a big one.
At 7 years old, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is normal, second grade stuff?
Learning colors, doing colors.
Yeah. It's been a while for me.
What is colors to you?
Oh, I would say just all of the above. Primary colors, non-primary colors. Like black or white or one of them. White is all the colors, and then black is none of the colors or some shit.
So what's one thing that's, the timing of this is kind of difficult. Because we used to market this podcast primarily to, that the age that Cameron believes he is, but we have switched to marketing heavily to geriatric patients. So, or to geriatric listeners.
Yes.
So, yeah, the difficult part here is that this really would have been helpful a while ago, but now it's really just a mismatch. It doesn't really work. But please don't touch that syringe, I guess, is still what I would say.
I'm not going to touch it. You keep saying it. I'm not going to touch it. I think you're trying to do reverse psychology on me. If you keep saying it, then I'm going to be sneaky and take it. I don't want to inject myself with
No, I'm glad. And that's an instinct.
I'm sorry, it's not the government's place to choose if I inject myself with
and
something.
Once again, that's a very new instinct for you, is to be against injecting yourself with something. So this is good. This is an improvement from your usual.
I just want to know, okay, so there's this shark. So that was sort of the origin story of how you became a doctor. There's this shark bite epidemic going on right now in Australia. What do you think is the solution to that? Or do you not want a solution because they're sort of bringing you patients?
I don't see it that way, Cameron. I don't see more people through my door. That means the sharks are winning. And I have a big problem with that. I want to see, I don't advocate for the, eradication of sharks. I want to make that very clear. They have their territory. We have ours. That's why I'm launching a campaign to remove all boats from stores. If we can't get out there, they can't hurt us.
Okay.
Do
they?
Oh, yeah. Because we're sort of going in their domain.
Is it the boats?
We're knocking on their door and essentially asking to have our abdomens removed,
seed out.
A large sort of comical bite, seed out mid to low. So I think if we, I'm launching also a similar social media campaign to just eliminate any sort of interest in water or water activities or marine biology careers. There's stuff like #water.
Okay.
Hardly know her.
Okay.
And other really funny things like that.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, just sort of classic. People read that hashtag and know exactly what you're trying to convey.
Yeah, there's no tweet attached to it, just a hashtag.
I'm going to write that down, actually. That's really good. Water, hardly know her.
So, is this just ocean activities, or are you discouraging even like swimming in the pool, the ALS ice bucket challenge, or is it all water related stuff?
We're starting with oceans, but I'm not I'm not going to give any slack to a lake or a river or a brook or a creek or a stream or a sound or a gulf or a tidal basin or a pool.
What about a quarry?
A quarry that's full of water. The ALS ice bucket challenge.
Which is kind of a dated event.
Water.
That the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah,
I'm impressed, Cameron.
And not even from 1997, if I remember it correctly.
No, it's within the last at least the last decade, like a few years ago. Cameron, did you?
Oh yeah, but it just you can sort of look at the trends that are going on and sort of just guess what's going to be going on in the future. You know what I mean?
You thought
a lot of ALS going on in 1997.
The ice bucket challenge. Related to ALS.
In 97, yeah, sure. I assumed that, in like
you assumed currently
there would be maybe a social.
Sorry.
I assumed there would be a social campaign going on where people are, celebrities are dumping ice on themselves to raise awareness for ALS. And it was around the time that Robin Williams died. I assumed that as well.
Wow. Okay. I guess. Yeah, like I said from the start of this episode, I really think that Cameron's bringing his A game with the 7-year-old persona. This works. He's a lot more insightful than the the sort of the usual Cameron was. So,
man, you keep saying that. It just makes me wonder where the hell did I go wrong? You know,
maybe he was 8 years old. Anyway, so
maybe right around 1998, things got pretty bad. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, so your plan is to get rid of boats and get rid of any interest in water-related activities, and I guess from my perspective, if you study it enough, then you can learn how to avoid accidents, right? So seems like it'd be detrimental to be cutting those out.
Yeah, and then education is our third sort of task there, to educate folks about the dangers of sharks. But we're really not putting too many resources into that. We're really focusing on getting rid of those boats and tweeting those hashtags. We could spend all our time, saying, "Oh, don't go, don't do certain things that attract sharks," or "Here's where the sharks are," or "Here's we could do that."
Or stay on the boat.
We're really working on stay on the boat. Don't cover yourself in seal blood before taking a dip in the ocean. Stuff that people may not know.
Yeah, things that aren't common sense.
That just doesn't interest you as much as just trying to get rid of the component altogether. I'm sorry, but this sounds like maybe more of an anti-water, anti-boat agenda than it is truly anti-shark. Like you said, it's revenge to get. Like you're trying to get revenge on these sharks, but it doesn't even sound like you're getting revenge on them. It sounds like you're allowing them to live peacefully.
It does sort of sound like that, isn't it? Well, let me tell you this: if there's no boat for the people to go and bother the sharks, what are the sharks going to do for fun? What's the point of living? Starve them out.
You're trying to get
them their source of food, and their source of entertainment and income.
So you're trying to get at them psychologically. That's where you want to hit them hardest.
Yeah. Well, I think you're glossing over the income aspect of this, Dr. London. You're saying people's body parts are the income that sharks use?
You think a shark doesn't benefit financially from a shark attack? Let me tell you something,
I've never
buddy.
thought about it.
You're wrong.
A shark has never talked to me. Yeah.
Whoa, I'm wrong just for never thinking about it. I didn't
You're
say
wrong.
yes. I said I never thought about it, and that's wrong.
No, it's wrong. It's incorrect. The sharks. There's a paper trail. If you look hard enough, there's a paper trail.
Yeah, I guess.
And where does it lead?
Right back, all the way to the top, baby.
Oh God, the Prime Minister of Australia.
Exactly.
You know what? And at that point, we are getting too political, and we're trying to be an apolitical podcast here. So I'm
so sorry.
Maybe we can just transition from here into the chores. Maybe
we do sort of have to do chores. Well, okay. Let's do the chores just real quick. Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And then maybe I don't know. We can just maybe hunt some sharks.
Well, maybe off mic.
That's what we're gonna do with this.
Off mic, we can discuss what endangered creatures we're gonna. But let's go ahead and focus on the chores first.
Okay, yeah. Do you want me to? I mean, I don't even know what you're talking about or what
Honestly,
this is.
just improvise it.
Piece of paper right here.
Yeah,
I can read that and sort of explain what the chore wheel is. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah. If you could just, maybe tap into a little bit of what you think you'll be like next year, and then use that to remember everything and read that off.
Okay, so here's the thing. Dr. Lynn and I have been very, very busy, and we have unfortunately let our list of chores, our to-do list, get so large that it's larger than a shark that's trying to bite a sea into your body. You know what I mean? And so we made this.
I know exactly what you mean. From that, I know exactly what you mean.
The metaphors really are useful. I need to start using them more like you do because it really helps.
I love metaphors.
At least
we made this wheel of chores. Every single one of our chores is on this wheel, and every single week we spin it, and whatever it lands on, we have to do it. So, I mean, Dr. London, I don't care if it's you got to clean your gun, you got to fill the gun up, you got to feed your gun. Dr. London, we have to do it, no matter what.
Well, I can't fill it up all the way. Not until next.
If that's what the chore is, you got to do it.
I get.
Now, Dr. Scounch,
I can get a drip going.
as our guest. Oh, sorry.
No, I can get a drip
What'd you
going
say?
on the gun, but I can't just like it's going to be a slow process. But no, go on.
I'm just saying, if it says just have a small amount that you got to fill it up on the chore wheel, I don't know what it says. I'm not looking at it actively. But Dr. Scounch, you're our guest. Would you like to give this wheel a big old spin?
Yeah, I'd be happy to spin that chore wheel for you there. Let me just
Just go ahead and
give her a
climb up
spin
there.
Just
And you can just
climbing up.
Wow, it's like the side of you fits almost into it. That was.
Yeah, you can read the chore wheel right through my C there. I'll stand right by the little ticker. You can just kind of see right through there.
Oh,
that's
I can see.
That's not a metaphor. That's a pun.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
And oh no, it landed on not this chore. I don't want to have to do this. Dr. London, do you want to read it off?
Yeah, especially with this guest, I feel like that might not. Whatever. Yeah. So this is the mayor.
What are the chances it would land on this one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
this episode.
The mayor
gosh.
wants us to focus a little bit more on sort of some public health awareness issues. And lately, the mayor actually imported a part of the ocean to the town. And so we've been dealing with a lot more water-related issues. And one of those issues happens to be sharks. And this is from the mayor, okay? So this is just, his words. He was saying, people think sharks are not good. They think that sharks are bad. And so we need to write a children's book. It's primarily children who think this. Adults think sharks are fine. They love sharks. Can't get enough of them. Shark Week, favorite week. But for the children have been afraid and have been sort of demonizing the sharks. And so we are tasked with writing a children's book that's maybe educating a little bit about how great sharks are and will be. So
it's shark propaganda. We're pushing shark propaganda. But I mean, Dr. London, now I feel like we've learned a lot about sharks in this episode that maybe they're not as cool as we initially thought. I feel like maybe we should pivot, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can mix it up, like do a hybrid of the ideas.
Maybe we can talk. We can talk about sharks, but let's take some of the elements that we learned from Dr. Scounch here, and sort of. I mean, Dr. Scounch, you can help us out, help us write this book real quick. Just going to be a quick, 7-page book, picture book on the importance of sharks. But I mean, let's start off with the obvious. Don't surf around sharks.
Okay. And that's for
Don't surf around sharks. That's a great idea there, Cameron. And I feel like you can add a very nice sort of child's innocent perspective to this book. I can provide the shark facts and data, and I think we can do
and
something
kids
really,
love
really
that.
magical.
Kids love facts and data. They love graphs. They love
data.
They love a compilation. If you can, I don't know if you can get a sort of an Excel spreadsheet in there, but they love that stuff.
Oh, kids love Excel. Yeah.
Well, you would know, being a 7-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Excel.
Yeah.
Formulas.
Besides colors, you're working on a lot of Excel spreadsheets at school, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of spreadsheets, and also I love my C++ class.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So that's the first page, and I guess in the background, we'll have a surfboard, and then, or even better, let's just have part of a surfboard floating. So it really sends a message home.
Okay, it's
been chopped. It's been seed.
Surfboard floating. There's a chunk taken out of it. There's sort
chunk,
of a reddish color around it.
And that's the first page.
And then maybe it says something like little Billy didn't listen to this book. Little Billy went and surfed.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. So first page will be blank with the don't go surfing with sharks, and then the second page will be this. Okay. I'm just trying to.
I think we could even amend that sort of with sharks on there and just put it. Don't go surfing. The water, it's not all it's cracked up to be. You don't need to head in there.
Okay.
Check out a library where this book is. Get a little self-referential.
Yes. So that's self-promoting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe just going anti-water entirely, which I know is sort of your agenda, that we can, I feel like this would be even a lot better, because we can even talk about how there's nothing interesting down there.
Okay.
Like we can say coral reefs are coral queefs, like they're stupid.
Kids will love that.
Okay, and that's the next
Kids will
page.
love
Okay.
that.
And then I would say for the page after that, we'll have a glass of water and say, this kind is okay because I want them to stay healthy. Okay.
This kind is okay.
This kind is okay.
The ones that look like this are good.
Yeah. And then we turn the page and maybe it's sort of a giant aquarium version that looks kind of similar, but it's rectangular. And we'll say don't.
And it says like, this is a little, you're creeping up on dangerous territory. Like it's maybe a little more cagey about going to an aquarium. There could be an accident. You fall into a tank. You get interested in marine biology,
It is important to me, even though this book is going to be anti-ocean, anti-water, it should be very pro-SeaWorld and aquariums. I feel like that should be like sort of the basis of it, I think. So, I mean, let's not demonize aquariums and sort of theme parks around ocean entirely.
Do you want it to be
because we still want to keep that around?
Do you want it to be an empty aquarium? And that's the enemy? Like it has to be filled with aquatic life in order for it to be good?
Are you saying an aquarium tank just without water,
yes.
but just all the fish in there?
No.
Yeah.
Or an aquarium tank with just water and no fish.
I was saying
There's
that.
an inherent interest in that, I suppose.
Yeah, well, because I'm thinking the page beforehand, it's just a glass of water. The next page is an empty aquarium. An aquarium with water and no fish in it, and then it's sort of like getting warmer.
So it's like this is a big cup, basically.
Yeah, and the big cup is iffy territory, and we can just say iffy territory here. That'll be the text, and then the next page. We could also is
the next page is the tank with no water in it. It's just fish flopping
and a
around.
Pile
it says
of fish.
This is more like it.
It said this is okay, and then we combine on the last page aquarium full of water, full of animals. We say no,
and full of surfboards.
This is a no
as well,
and full of surfboards and dead guys and dead people and stuff.
Yeah, churning a Sharknado. Okay.
A Sharknado would say this is definitely not.
Okay. What if, though, just to clarify things, the next page had pictures of non-aquatic animals in the tank and saying this is fine,
like lions?
It says this is iffy. This is iffy. Also, this is
okay, that's still an iffy category. Just to have like a lion, bear, dogs, cats, just stuff like that falls into the.
Yeah, it's important in our cautionary tale to never give clear answers and be very cagey about our safety recommendations and say this is iffy, this is dangerous. Use your best judgment, and then giving a firm hard yes to a glass of water and a hard no to an aquarium full of sea creatures.
Because I don't think there's the right answer to any of these except for the glass of water. Probably the rest. There's some room for debate somewhere in there, So as long as we have
you can find flaws in the rest of them if you look hard enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's good. And then the end on a blank page, or do you want to say like the end?
What? You don't think Finn would be kind of funny?
You're right. Finn would be good. But then underneath ... or is it?
Oh, leaves it open for a sequel.
Yeah.
Everything's about sequels these days.
Yeah. Okay. These days meaning, 1997.
Oh, gosh. In 1997, Batman and Robin was around that time. I mean, around this time.
Get ready for a film called The Matrix pretty soon, and then a couple of disappointing sequels to that. So you've got that to look forward to, Cameron.
Wow. I mean, who's in that? Surely not... an actor not known for action sequences, right?
That's right. Legendary actor not known for action sequences, Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh,
wow.
That's my favorite actor as a 7-year-old.
I don't know why I was so impressed with that, given that I'm well aware of the movie. Anyway, so I guess we're about finished here. I think we've learned quite a bit here from you, Miss Dr. Scounch. I feel like we've covered a lot of territory here. We learned a little bit about the dangers of being bitten by a shark, by the grace of God. And I feel like we've learned a lot of Cameron's perspective as a 7-year-old, and how
the dangers of open water, Dr. London, and closed water, just all forms of it.
Yeah, except for in a cup. Just cups of water are nice. All right, well, Dr. Scounch, do you have any way for the listeners to keep up with you, keep up with your work, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned that we're doing this social media campaign, and you can find that kind of stuff on Twitter. You can find accounts, stuff like comedians like my good friend sort of Andy Peterson. He's there at Tweeterson _ on Twitter. You can find him tweeting stuff like #water, hardly know her, and other really, really funny tweets like that.
Even more? Wow. Okay. All right. Well, thank you to Dr. Martin Scounch for being on tonight. Today.
Before we wrap up here, Dr. London, just, I'm glad that my amnesia had really helped with the show and everything. But, I just wanted to clear up. I've got amnesia, so I'm basically like a different guy. So, like, I'm not even like the producer Cameron or whatever you're talking about. So, like, it's not even like let's say that guy painted some offensive words or whatever on your car. Like, let's say that hypothetically. It's not like you could hold that against me. I'm 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if that'd hold up in court necessarily, but great to yeah, that's a crazy hypothetical. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I've got amnesia. Such a thing would never. I don't even know dirty words.
Okay. But I will say you said a few of them in this recording, I think. But anyway, maybe I heard wrong or something. Anyway, thank you to Dr. Mountain Scounch for being on. Thank you to our producer Cameron, and don't touch that syringe. And thank you to Digital in the House. Hey, Digital in the House.
We're really focusing on getting rid of those boats and tweeting those hashtags. Hashtag heading over to the Scounch side of town. Which just means going west. So in that way, yeah, my name is sort of synonymous with failures and do-nothings, not-doers, don't-doers. I'm really focusing on getting rid of those boats and tweeting those hashtags. Hashtag heading over to the Scounch side of town. Hashtag water, hardly know her.
My name is drlondonsmith.com, and this has been the Jock Podcast.
See ya.